All right, we're here. We are back. We are back. There is a lot of catching up that I need to do on what has been happening with the election so far. Or after the election, rather.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, so here is Trump delivering remarks in California. I hear this is going to be a spicy one, so let's go ahead and kick it off.
Much, everybody. This is an honor to be with you. Unfortunately, it's a very sad period, but what makes you feel good is I met so many of the homeowners, and every one of them, a lot of them, and every one of them said to me they want to rebuild. I said, will you go elsewhere? No, 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 no. It wasn't even like a question. They love the area. They love the people.
It's really surprising that they don't want to leave California at this point.
It's like a family. It's incredible, actually, when you see some things like that. We just left North Carolina, and we had just a similar type of disaster. It was water instead of fire, but boy, that water did damage like I've never seen before. And then you come here and you see this. But the people are so amazing, and your fire department was so beautiful. Every one of them is in perfect physical shape. I said, what do you guys do? They have very high standards, I can tell you. And we took pictures with all of them, but very nicely they gave us a little helmet. And I said, you wear this, huh? Is this real? And they said, yeah. I said, it's awfully heavy. You have to be very strong to wear that. But that's the original, right? So it's pretty good. But I just want to thank everybody. We're going to be with you. Your governor met us at the plane, and we had a good talk, very, very positive talk. We have to work together to get this really worked out. I don't think you can realize how rough it is, how devastating it is until you see it. I didn't realize. I mean, I saw a lot of bad things on television, but the extent of it, the size of it, we flew over it in a helicopter. We flew to a few of the areas, and it is devastation. It's incredible. It's really an incineration. Even some of the chimneys came down, okay? When you have the chimneys come down, you know that's pretty hot stuff, and a lot of them were down. That was a bad sign, too.
Somebody clipped him saying that on X, like it was a attack or alien invasion or something like that. Just, moving into conspiracy theories is pretty much what they were trying to do, for views on X.
But I just want to commiserate and we're going to celebrate. We'll be back to celebrate one day soon, I hope soon. The federal government standing behind you, 100%. The First Lady and I are in California to express a great love for the people of California. I've had great support always in California. We did very well recently, as you know, relatively speaking, at least I can say. And it's been amazing. I have property in California, not too far away, actually, right up the road in Palos Verdes, a big property. And I've always loved it. I've always loved being here. But we have to grieve for the 28 Californians who have tragically perished. And sadly, you're going to be finding more. And that's going to be very sad because I know people are missing. And when you look at that kind of incineration, you know what's going to happen. You're going to find some more. But with all that we've gone through, I watched your firefighters, and they were really fighting at a big disadvantage. I got to know a lot of them just now, and they're incredible people. They were so happy. They were saying, congratulations, sir. You know, they're thinking about country maybe even before this location that they all love.
Imagine the complaints that he was listening to from them not having any water. Jesus.
But I'm pleased to be joined by many of the great California leaders, both Democrat and Republican. And it's an honor to meet some of you I didn't know, but I know every one of you by name. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger. Thank you, Catherine, very much. Mayor Karen Bass. Thank you, Karen. It's nice to meet you. Representatives Jay Obernolte. Where's Jay? Jay, hi, Jay. It's been a tough period, Jay, right? Vince Fong, Kevin Kiley, Vince and Kevin, hi. Hi, Vince. A man I know very well. I know him too well, actually. And I say that actually with love because he's actually been a great congressman for a long time, and he's a great leader, and he loves the area as much as anybody, right? Daryl. So Daryl Issa, young Kim, congratulations on an excellent career. I appreciate it. Another one I know pretty well is, to put it mildly, is Tom McClintock. And he's been with us for a long time. We have some interesting things going on in Washington. And it's an honor that you guys are here. Thank you, Daryl, very much, Tom. George Whitesides. Good, George. Thanks. It's a great name, too, by the way. Brad Sherman. Oh, I know Brad well. I know Brad, but that's all right. We're on the same side of this one. I know that. We'll work together, Brad, very well. A lot of respect.
All right.
And Presidential Envoy Rick Grenell, who's done a fantastic job for me over the years. He was ambassador to Germany, and he was fantastic. So 2.5 weeks ago, over 100-mile-an-hour winds transformed the Palisades fire and other areas, too, into absolute infernos of death and destruction. And this is already the most expensive natural disaster, they say, in American history. That's pretty amazing. The numbers are going to be staggering. Most importantly, we have to get it built, and we have to hopefully find as few people as possible. We have already too many, 28 at least, they say. We're going to work very hard with the mayor, the governor, the supervisor, and everybody, and get the resources behind you. And we have some amazing people, and we have some amazing fighters for things like this. I also had the concept of getting some of the best developers in the country. I've had so many calls from developers, and they want to come in. They don't want anything. They just want to come in and help, and they really know how to get things done and get things built. I would ask that the local officials, because we're going to essentially waive all federal permits. We're going to have you go very quickly, because a federal permit can take 10 years. We're not going to do that. We don't want to take 10 days. I would.
Gets a little clap there.
So we're declaring this a national emergency. By doing that, I can give you immediate permits. I'd ask that the local permitting process be the same. some of the people were saying they're going to be forced to wait 18 months for their permits, and I don't think you're going to do that. I can't imagine that. So they are literally in a position right now they'd like to start tonight, and they'll clean their site, they'll do everything. They just want to start, and they were very concerned with the 18 months. So I'm sure you can get it down to, I would say, not even 18 days. They are ready, Mayor. They are ready to start. I met so many of them. The fire took place. It's nice and cool there now, and they want to start taking the debris. They want to take the debris. They want to do everything. They'll get rid of everything. They're going to do it by their own hand. And you're going to see some amazing things happen. So we're waiving the federal permits. Either waive them or give them to you so rapidly it's going to be essentially the same thing, but we're going to try and just waive them. And we'll rely on the local, but the local, I hope, is going to do the same exact thing. They're literally ready to start right away tonight. So if you could do almost the same thing or the same thing would be great. For a building permit, you're going to have to, check things out a little bit. A lot of them, every single one of them said they're going to rebuild. I didn't have one person say they're selling or they're leaving or they're disgusted. They love their community, and it's incredible. We even had one from your neck of the woods, right? Yeah. Do you want to stand up? It was so nice the way she greeted my wife in a very different language, right? And it was very nice to see. And you're staying and you're going to rebuild and everything else. Yeah, everybody. So it's really great. So I'm signing an executive order to open up the pumps and valves in the north. We want to get that water pouring down here as quickly as possible and let hundreds of millions of gallons of water flow down into Southern California. And that'll be a big benefit to you. If you don't want it, you're going to tell me, but I can't imagine it. I tell you who does like it is the fire department. When I said that, they were very happy with that. Jesus. They didn't mind hearing that. But we have a lot of water that is available, and I hope you can work that out among yourselves. But I think this will show that we have to have that water. We have to have that water. You're talking about unlimited water coming up from the Pacific Northwest, even coming up from parts of Canada. And it pours down naturally. It has for a million years. For a million years, it pours down. You'll never run out. You'll never have shortages, and you won't have things like this. And when you do, you'll have a lot of water to put it out. So I'm going to ask that you figure that out. But I really strongly recommended this 7 years ago, and I think I'm going to just do it. If you have big problems, you're going to let me know, but I just can't even imagine it. But we're also surging federal resources and assistance to the state, and California must adopt the common sense policies to prevent fires, and we all know that. We were talking 7 or 8 years ago, I was talking to people from Austria, people from Finland, people that live in forests. One of the gentlemen, one of the top great leaders of Austria said, we don't have forest fires, and we have trees that are actually far more flammable than they have in California, but they literally rake their forests. They take down, if a tree comes down, they take it down. They say you have 18 months. After that, it's like a matchstick. And I know environmentally, some environmental groups like the trees to just melt into the ground, but when they do melt into the ground, they become an inferno. So I think you're going to have to change your ways in terms of that. You have 30 years of leaves, and those leaves are dry as a bone, and they burn. Interestingly, because I was at Paradise, who's the general, right? Long time ago, I was at Paradise. What a beautiful paradise it was. And how is it doing, by the way? Are they rebuilding, right? Remember when he said, you were up here, President. I went there. I never saw anything like it. But you know what amazed me? I'll never forget it. The trees were okay because the trees are loaded with water. They sucked that water out of the ground. And this was an inferno, just like, I would say no different than this. And it was also the wind that caused a lot of problem. I mean, you had tremendous winds that there's not a lot you're going to do with. You had up to 100-mile-an-hour winds. It's unheard of. But when I was in Paradise, I noticed that the trees, they were dark on the bottom, but they were absolutely living, and they lived because they're soaking wet. But the trees that were on the ground, within 12 to 18 months, they say 18 months at a maximum, you have to cut them up, take them away because they're matchsticks. But we saw that. You saw that with me. I commented at the time. I said, look at this. The house is burned down and the tree is standing, and it's, other than being a little different color on the bottom, and it went through an inferno. It's amazing. It's soaking wet. So I think they have to do it. It's called management of the floor. And when the gentleman from Austria and also Finland and other countries, they said we manage the forest floor very, very carefully, and we don't have forest fires. You know, they just don't have them. So I'm sure you're going to do the same thing. So there can be no golden age without the Golden State. It's a great state. It's a fantastic place, and we're going to have a big celebration soon. We're going to come back, and we'll come back as much as you need, and we're going to turn it around, and we're going to open the coffers. You know, America wants us to be taken care of. This was a horrible thing to watch, and the way it just kept going and going, and then they'd find another area. It was like genius.
It's terrible.
On the other side, the fire was a genius, the way it kept moving, but we're not going to stand for it. I just met with the Olympic people, and they're all set to do a real job. So we have the Olympics, and I got them. You know, it was very interesting. I made the deal with the Olympics. I was called by your former mayor, and he said, would you call the Olympics? Because I must tell you, the Democrats, as you know, were not calling. They wouldn't do it. I don't know, there was a bad experience somehow. And I did, and I got along great with the Olympic Committee, and we got the Olympics, and then we got you the World Cup. That one I focused on with Gianni. Gianni was great, the head of it.
So I believe he's going to ask questions pretty soon.
And so you have that coming. And then we have the 250 years coming up, which is going to be a great celebration. But I'll never forget when I got the Olympics, and then I was president when I got them. I said, oh, boy, it's too bad I won't be president. Who knew this was going to happen, right? I said, I won't be president because it would have been the 4 years. And, in fact, I'd be retired by 4 days right now, I guess, right? So anyway, so I got him, and at least I'll be able to celebrate the Olympics, the World Cup, and the 250 years is going to be a very big deal. So we have the three biggest there are, and it was an honor to get. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you have a statement to make, I'd love to have politically, if you'd like to make a statement. Brad, go ahead.
Here we go. He's going to ask questions.
Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. President, thank you
Sure,
for coming
thank you, Brett.
to the 32nd Congressional District and
Thank you.
making most people don't have adequate insurance because they couldn't get it.
Right.
So one company dropped 1,600 policies just in the last 6 months. We've got 16 times as much property damage here as from Hawaii, and I'm hoping that we get at least 16 times the federal appropriation for the CDBG program that helps people rebuild. And I know you've talked about policies of California that you're not a fan of, but I've been in Congress for 28 years. I really disagree with Louisiana on their abortion policy. I disagree with them on their campaign finance policy. I disagree with North Dakota on their gun policy. And I would never turn to somebody from Louisiana and say, you keep living on your cousin's couch, because we're not going to help you rebuild until Louisiana agrees with me on a woman's right to choose. So I'm
Here he goes already. This is the same douchebag that hates crypto.
hoping that we can get these funds and that we don't punish individuals for the policies of their state. You can disagree with them, and I think you've got some ideas. I look forward to
The policy was that they didn't have adequate water to take care of a fire that just completely wrecked the state. This isn't an abortion issue. This is literally like you're mismanaging the whole state to the point that it's setting on fire.
us listening. Also
Mr.
on
President.
tariffs, I often agree with you on tariffs, but how about no tariffs on building materials for the next 3 years?
We'll take a look at that, actually.
Mr.
We'll take a
President.
look. Mayor, please.
Yes. First of all, let me just take the opportunity to officially welcome you to Los Angeles. Really appreciate you coming, and especially you come just a few days after your inauguration. So
Thank you.
I want you to know that your presence here is very much appreciated. Let me also say that I know you had an opportunity to see the devastation. You've seen the extreme loss, the grief that people are going through here. And we are 100% committed to getting this neighborhood rebuilt again. You mentioned a couple of things in terms of us expediting. So I signed executive directives right away so that we could cut the red tape, we could get people back building as fast as possible, and we're going to continue doing that.
Mayor, the one thing is they are
Yes.
saying they will not be allowed to start for 18 months.
No, that will not be the case.
Okay, I just hope
That
you're
will
right.
not, you can hold me to it.
Because 4 groups said that. and
No.
That would be, they should
No,
be able to
that-
do it.
There we go.
They should be able to start tonight.
That will not be the case. You know, first we have to take care, to make sure that there's not getting rid of the hazardous waste, cleaning things up so that people can
So it is going to take 18 months.
start right away. And just like you said, if somebody had their house was destroyed and they're going to rebuild essentially the same, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit higher, they really shouldn't have to go through much of a process. So I want you to know that we are expediting that. We absolutely need your help. We need the federal help. You're a
You've got it,
builder.
I told you. You will have no permit problem. There will be 0 delay. And as far as I'm concerned, you already have the permits. But
And the resources.
I am more worried, because I met at least 8 groups of homeowners, and I'm much more worried about the fact that they said it's 18 months exactly, and they were devastated. They want to start now. They want to start removing things. They're not allowed to do it now. And you mentioned hazardous waste. Well, the hazardous waste, what's hazardous waste? I mean, you're going to have to define that. We're going to go through a whole series of questions on determining what's hazardous.
Nope.
That's exactly what I was saying, and that's going to take 18 months for them to define what is hazardous waste just so they can get people in there to clean up.
I just think you have to allow the people to go on their site and start the process tonight.
And we will.
Okay, good.
You can
Mr.
come back and check.
very
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and I represent the areas of Altadena and Pasadena.
Yes.
That's the Eaton fire, and there is a world of hurt there. I know that you've gone to the Palisades and you've seen the devastation,
Right.
but it's apocalyptic in Altadena, and thank goodness I have a partner with Supervisor Catherine Barger in working to help people get back to normal and to rebuild. But right now they have nothing, and there have been 9,500 structures burned. Most of the deaths have occurred in our area
Yeah.
with the Eaton fire,
very
and thousands of people are without homes. And these are working people. These are working class people. They are people like Dr. Jackie Jacobs, who was an educator all her life and then finally became the first black administrator of her educational institution, Pasadena City College, and then retired, now 88 years old, and then her home of 30 years burned in Altadena.
Yeah.
She has nothing. She left with only the clothes on her back. She has nothing. And so they need this help. And I just want to make sure that you remember the people in Altadena and Pasadena, and that you can come there and see how terrible the devastation has been there so that they can get the help that they need.
Just remember one thing, and I like the way you express yourself beautifully, actually, but I've only been here 3 days, and I'll do a great job. But we had another president, and this took place during the life of another president, not me. But I'm going to be the president that's going to help you fix it, because he would not have been able to help you fix it, okay? So we'll take care of it.
I'm really surprised that they're clapping at that. It's a room full of mostly Democrats.
Take care of it, and we'll work closely. Yeah, we'll work closely, and I know your community was really devastated, incredibly, so we understand that. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I'm just going to follow up. Supervisor
Yes, please, go
Kappenberger, and I also represent Altadena, and what I tell people is people of Altadena are the exact people you talked to when you were running. You've got individuals from every every walk of life. And it is actually, at one time, was the only place African Americans could purchase homes. It was redlined. And so you've got a lot of generational wealth there. And one of the commitments I've made, and we've had meetings with some of you people in HUD that you've got there now, to work with them and work with your administration to see how we can help. And I've been pleasantly surprised. I know on HUD we've got some asks that we are going to be working with you on. But more importantly, I just really want to emphasize what Congresswoman Chu said, and that is that these are individuals who are feeling forgotten. And what I tell them is, and when we invited you out here,
Let me know in the chat how long you think it's going to be before they can actually go into their homes and start piecing their lives together.
I told, when I went to the AME church, this president was talking to you when he was running. You understand the difficulty in making ends meet. You understand the high cost of living. And now their biggest fear is that that's going to impact their ability to rebuild. And I have made them this commitment, because this is my last term, that for the next 4 years, you talk about 18 months, I've told our county staff that if you're going to get in the way, then get another job. Because we are an all hands on deck. And quite frankly, if the bureaucracy can't get out of the way, we'll just roll over it. And we've said that, and we've made it clear. The governor's waived CEQA, which I feel should be completely reformed, if not eliminated. And if it's being eliminated for this...
How are they doing with CEQA?
How are they doing
How
with
is it? What's been the attitude of the people running that whole situation?
It adds sometimes years on to an application.
Can't do it. Can't.
No, and the governor's...
And Coastal Commission also.
He waived that
We're
as
going to
well.
have to override the Coastal Commission, because
Right.
I've dealt with the Coastal Commission for a long time, and they are considered the most difficult in the entire country. And we cannot have them play their games and wait 10 years to give somebody a permit. In fact, I'm going to override the Coastal Commission. I'm not going to let them get away with their antics.
Well,
Okay?
Someone just said, well, but
Thank you, David.
Mr. President, I just want to thank you for your leadership on California water policy. You made it a priority from day one. For those of us in the Central Valley and Northern California, we have catastrophic wildfires as well. California is a wildfire-prone area, so ensuring reliable, stable water supplies is critical. And so your leadership, your executive order, moving more water, maximizing flows throughout the state of California, building more water storage, more conveyance, coordinating the...
It would have a great impact on, I know your area very well. It would have an unbelievable impact on your area.
Absolutely. We just want to thank you for making it a priority.
You know, even beyond the fire stuff, the farms. I was driving up with congressmen a few years ago because they were complaining they had no water. And I was driving up, and you'll see all of this incredible land, but it's absolutely bone dry. And then you'll see little green patches, and the green patches are so beautiful. You know, they have that land, they say it's as good as Iowa farmland, but it has no water. And it's artificial, has no water. They send the water out into the Pacific Ocean. And when we let that water come through your valleys and down to Los Angeles and everything, you're going to have a different place. It's going to be a
who would have thought that water was important?
whole different place. And you guys have to get together and say, gee, we want it. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So at least you said that, and I appreciate it. Because your farmers will be able to, instead of having 1 acre out of 100, which is all they have, they'll be able to have 100 acres out of 100. And it's among the best, they say it's the best farmland just about in the country, as good as any place there is. So, but you can't, it's no good without water. So that's beyond the fire stuff. But today we're talking about fire, but it's good for everything. So I hope you can lead a group. And Daryl, if you can lead a group, I know how you feel. And, you know, support what I'm doing, because what I'm doing, I guess, is controversial. I don't know what's controversial about sending millions and millions of gallons of beautiful fresh water from the Pacific Northwest and further up than even that into an area that's bone dry. We have to, you know, I have a house in Beverly Hills, and you get notices every once in a while. They want you to go down to 38 gallons per person or something, per house, per person. I say, you mean You can only have, 38 gallons sounds like a lot. It's not a lot. And they want to do that every once in a while, and you just think it's ridiculous when you have like just about as much water as anybody in the country, and we shouldn't be in a position where you have tumbleweed that's dry as a bone, that even tumbleweed can be nice and green and rich and loaded up with water, and it's not going to burn. You don't even have to remove it. It's not going to burn, but it's just dry.
It's ridiculous.
So I hope you can all get together and say, I'm so happy with the water that's going to be flowing down, because I just don't see anything. They talk about the Delta smelt, which is a fish that's this big, but it is really not, doesn't have to be protected because it's in other areas. It's in numerous other areas. So it doesn't have to be protected. The people of California have to be protected.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, could I just speak for a moment?
Kevin Kiley, California.
Yes.
First of all, you're absolutely right about the Coastal Commission. I've introduced legislation to rein them in. We've been talking with Rick about this.
They're out of control.
Absolutely out of control. It's insane the things they've been getting away with.
I think they thrive on it, actually, if you want to know the truth. It's so ridiculous.
That's right. They even tried to stop SpaceX from launching rockets.
That's true.
Insane.
But you mentioned your predecessor and how he didn't fix the situation, which is absolutely right. Not only that, during the Calder fire, which was a few years ago, which was in my district, 600 people lost their homes in a town called Grizzly Flat. He came and he promised that he would help them out, but he broke that promise many times. He never delivered them the individual assistance they were asking for. So this has underscored for me the importance of helping the victims, making sure in this situation, in every fire, we get money to the victims, and we make sure that, that nothing stands in the way of that. But I just want to thank you for your focus on bringing sanity to California, water and fire policy. There's no place that needs a revolution in common sense quite like California.
You have so much water. Use it and be happy about it.
Mr. President,
Be happy.
Mr. President, my name is Joel Pollock, and I am a journalist with Breitbart News, but I happen to live in the Pacific Palisades, as do other colleagues. One colleague, John Kahn, wrote the song Fighter, which you played at your campaign rallies. He lost his house and the studio he wrote that song in. We were lucky because I was able to fight the fire on my fence. But when I got to my house, there was no water in the pipes. So I got inside and I picked up the flower vases, because I give my wife flowers every week, and there was water there, and we started with that. Then I found my son's bucket of baseballs, and I dumped the baseballs on the ground, and I used the bucket. But there was still no water, except for the water in the gutter coming from the burnt homes uphill.
Oh, my God.
So I went to and fro to my gutter and my fence with my bucket. 2 guys showed up in a truck, 2 neighbors. We found 2 more buckets, bucket after bucket after bucket. Many of my neighbors, including some here, tried to fight the fires. They couldn't. We were lucky our house was saved. But we should not have to rely on buckets to put out a fire.
That's right.
You can't stop an 80-mile-per-hour wind or 100-mile-per-hour wind, but there were many things that went wrong here that are basic and small. We did not have traffic police to guide the evacuation, so there was gridlock on Sunset. They've removed the vehicles now, but there were dozens of vehicles that were abandoned by drivers who fled for their lives because there were no traffic cops available. The fire department wasn't pre-deployed, even though there was an extreme wind event coming. And many of my neighbors lost their fire insurance in the days before the blaze. So I asked my neighbors, what would they want to know if I could ask the president a question? And the number one thing was insurance.
Yeah.
Can you work with the insurance companies to get people back to where they were before they lost the coverage because of California's regulations? And can you make California change its rules so that when we build again, we can get fire insurance and we don't have to worry? And there's one other point I want to make. I really appreciate my congressman advocating for money. We need the money from the federal government. But I also understand Americans who are tired of spending money on California and disasters happen, and the California government passes $50 million to oppose your policies. So they have $50 million for that, but not for moving people into rental homes or helping people relocate or rebuild. I would like to ask you to follow the 9/11 Commission precedent and appoint a special master to watch the money to make sure that every federal dollar that gets spent here is spent on fire relief and rebuilding and not on everything else.
Good idea. Here's a good one right over here. I don't know if you, do we all like
He's
Rick?
very
He was
busy.
ambassador to Germany. He was fantastic. Angela Merkel's happiest day ever in her history, and she had a long history, was the day I removed him from there and put him in charge of a very high level of intelligence and intelligent people, but they were not intelligent enough to fool him. But Rick Grenell has been fantastic, and he lives here, and I don't know if you want to either think about it or recommend some people, or get together and recommend some people as a group, which is fine. But Rick would be somebody that I would certainly consider. And Breitbart is fantastic, by the way. Congratulations on that. And I was so impressed with the firefighters I met before. And they said that, I asked them how many of the pumps, how many of the hydrants were working. And it was a, large percentage of them were not working at all. They had no water. And the ones that did have water didn't have a lot of pressure. And one of the things that was missing, many of you have sprinklers over your living room and your bathroom and your kitchen. I mean, if those sprinklers worked with some pressure, you would have had a much different outcome. So we're going to work on that. I think in terms of that, Rick Grenell would be good, or Rick, you'll head up a group of people that would recommend a few people to me, maybe a commission, set up a commission. I like it because we're talking about a lot of money. The other one is Kelly Loeffler is now the head of small business, and small business is big business. It's actually one of the biggest banks in the world. We call it the Small Business Administration, and she's a cabinet member, full cabinet member. She's fantastic. Her husband is the head of the New York Stock Exchange, so they know something about money and other exchanges, actually. Fantastic people. And she wants to come here almost immediately after she gets approved. She wants to come here and open up small business to the area because they have a lot of money. I always say the small business is actually very big business when you add it all up. And she's going to come here, and it's a very important thing. I want to thank also the First Lady, because she wanted to come here. She wanted to be here. She has so many friends, and she also wanted to see North Carolina because that was another disaster that was so bad, so different, but so bad. And she just wanted to go there. We said we're going to stop at one, and then we're going to the other. In many respects, it was a depressing day, but in many respects, it was a beautiful day because the spirit is so incredible. North Carolina and here. Very, very similar situation. So different and yet so similar, actually. And so I just thought it was very nice. You wanted to be here, and we appreciate that. Please. Jay? Is that local? You got to. I don't want to be the only one to give you permits like in one day, and then I find out that the cities, the towns, and the state is not going to give you permits. And the problem with permits, it only takes one. Yeah. You might need 7 different permits. You shouldn't have any at this point. You should just let them build. And you're only as good as the weakest one. So if you have one that's going to hold you up, but the others are going to give it to you in 24 hours, it's not going to help you very much, so they have to work on that.
So, we were told last night 18 months, so that's not the answer. They were asked, what is the answer?
It's what everybody said.
Well, and let me just tell you that we are going to do everything we can, slashing regulations, expediting everything so that people can begin the process right away. We have the Disaster Recovery Center.
I just don't believe her.
On Pico and Westwood, we have building and safety there. People are already contacting the local agencies. We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next. We want them all to be in the same room so that you can get busy rebuilding ASAP. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And we will clear the lots, absolutely, in the city and in the county. We are working together. Both levels of government are working in unity. Yes.
6 months is no
Exactly.
good.
6 months is way too long.
The number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can,
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No, no,
by
no,
the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
She was just saying that they can't because it was a hazard.
If a family...
People are willing
want-
to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can
There's
do
not
that.
that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's
She literally just said that people have to wait.
It's going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract,
If
and it's going to
individuals
charge him
want to build-
$25,000 to do his lot.
Yeah.
I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked,
signed
I
an
mean, you have a
emergency
very powerful
declaration.
emergency
Clearly not.
power, and you
Yes.
can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Soon. That was the issue. How long is soon? They want to go back tonight. But you're saying this is going to take many months.
We think within a week.
A week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important
week
thing
is
is
a
for
long
people to
time.
be safe.
These people are couch surfing right now. I don't think they really care.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at
They're homeless. Of course they're not safe.
it. I watched
Homeless in California.
hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night.
On that. Right.
Mr. President, we're going to be together next week, and during the interim, many of us are involved in, and Tom McClintock, who you know has been an expert on this for years,
That's right.
we are going to be putting conditions on the money that do two things. Require that it be done timely and affordable, and then secondly, that we protect those who will come afterwards. As we speak, there are 6,000 acres burning in my district on the Mexican border. There will be more fires until we include in any disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those. The hooks-
Like water.
Yeah.
Little
We're
things
gonna
like
do
water.
that for
You
them.
know, the party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, in all fairness.
Damn.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient.
Who would have
Thank you,
thought?
Mr. President.
Mr. President, I'm Jay Obernolte. My district is just a bit east of here.
Yep.
And you were talking about the need to better manage our forests and our wildlands to prevent this from happening again. And you were so right about that. Just last year, a couple months ago in October, they put out a fire, the line fire.
It's guys like you on YouTube that make America look bad. Trump 2024. I voted for Trump. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. He-Man, Fan Man. I think you got the wrong guy, bro.
in my district was over twice as big as the Palisades fire. And they put it out less than a mile from my house in an area where we had done thinning, and they stopped the fire, Mr. President, on a fire break that we had built a couple of years ago.
That's right.
We have an area just on the other side of my community that hasn't been thinned in decades because it's being held up by a lawsuit from an environmental group that says we're going to reduce habitat. Mr. President, we need to, in addition to getting resources and boots on the ground to do this treatment, we need to reform our legal system to prevent these lawsuits from tying.
How are you going to say you're an American when you disrespect the President of the United States? I never disrespected the President. I don't. Are you retarded? Is that what this is?
Up these projects for years and years and years. And not to say that the merit shouldn't be heard, but we need to hear them and we need to move on, resolve them.
Is this a state group? State or federal group?
This is a local group, actually, Mr. President, but they have help from the state.
They use the environment to make themselves feel good, and they're destroying our country. And you've got to, at some point, you've got to put your foot down. I know exactly what you're talking. You have local and state groups, and you have federal groups too. And you got to fight them the right way, because you'll never, even if the mayor gives, you're going to have a local group come in and sue. You're not allowed to go on your property. They're going to talk about asbestos and every other thing.
Yep, and then now they're going to be out of their houses for 18 months because of a bunch of bullshit.
They want to go on their property and they want to clean out their property, and you cannot let anything get in their way. And you'll have this place built up quickly, beautiful. It'll be more beautiful than before. And I would do one other thing. I'd give them a 10%, 15% bonus on their house, because they went through hell, and they should be allowed to build a little bit, give them a little bit lot line bonus, give them a bonus on size, maybe a little bonus on height. They went through hell. You know, some of them had houses where they were restricted. They have to have an 8-foot ceiling. You let them have a 10-foot ceiling.
My bad, sorry. No, dude, you're an idiot. Fuck off. How about that?
Let them build a nice house, a nicer house than they had before. But I would give them a 10 or a 15% bonus on their plans, and I think it would be very well received, because they'll be able to build a little bit nicer house. Do you like that idea, by the way? They deserve it, because you know what? It's not their fault that this fire took place. This fire.
It's not going to happen, though. They're going to be battling with their insurance companies. I'll be surprised if they get the equivalent of what they had.
Fire took place, could have been stopped. It's not their fault. It's not the homeowner's fault. And I think they should be entitled to a bonus on their house. Okay.
Mr. President.
Sir, go ahead. Thank you. Some good news from Paradise. We stood together there 6 years ago, along with the governor.
That was so terrible.
That 3,400 homes have been rebuilt out of the 18,000 lost, and there's 400 more in the wings. And so FEMA was very helpful. Now my colleague who has Altadena here, probably a very similar situation. Clearing the lots, they're probably going to have to clear about a foot worth of soil underneath those foundations to get the toxicity out. So they'll need a lot of help. Those are working class folks in Altadena.
And we did a good job with you people.
And FEMA was extremely helpful.
Yep.
30,000.
That was the old days when FEMA was good. FEMA's no good anymore.
Yeah.
That was when we ran it. FEMA was very good, but now FEMA's not good.
We got to get them on track. But on the water, thanks so much for your strong efforts on that. Right now, Lake Shasta, which is in my district, is dumping.
Thanks so much for your common sense, is what he wanted to say.
More water than what is coming in. So is Folsom Lake. And those are federal projects that should be building up, because we're latter January here. And you can't count on the rain and the snow coming every year. And so if we don't fill those projects, then my colleague in San Joaquin Valley isn't going to get his water for his farmers. Well, it might be all right up in the north. They aren't going to get it. And then the water needs to go through aqueduct for Southern Cal to refill maybe the Santa Ynez Reservoir that was empty during this.
You know, you don't even need reservoirs. With the water coming down, you don't need the reservoir. You have so much water, you don't need it. You only have reservoirs because you're trying to hold water. But you have natural water coming down along the coast. It's for 1 million years it's been coming. You know that, right?
Yeah.
In addition to that, you have a lot of half pipe. In other words, you have the half pipe that's built, and it hasn't been used. You see, it's bone dry. No water's been in that half pipe for years and years. It was closed up years ago.
Had the reservoir,
it's already there. Yeah.
Had the reservoir above Santa Palisades been full, they wouldn't have run out of water in a few hours. It would have gone for at least a few days with 40 acre feet out of 600,000.
That reservoir's been empty for a long time.
Yep.
It shouldn't have been empty. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, please.
Mr. President, my name is Tracy Park. I represent the people of the Pacific Palisades on the LA City Council. I wanted to thank you for your loyal support to our military, our police officers, and especially our firefighters.
Thank you very much.
Okay, but what's your question about that?
My top priority going forward is to get these men and women home as soon as possible and open up the pathway to begin their rebuilding process. It was the Army Corps of Engineers who announced last night that it would be 18 months. I am fully committed to doing my part on the ground with our state agencies and our city and our county partners to speed this up.
Good.
I just ask for your ongoing partnership with FEMA and the EPA and our other federal agencies to make sure that we have a commitment across all layers of government to get these people back home. Thank you, sir.
I do. Thank you very much. It's well said. I do have to say FEMA is a big disappointment. We had it working well. We had great people, but FEMA is not good anymore. What FEMA did in North Carolina, you know, they still haven't even gone to certain areas. They don't know what they're doing. And I say, you don't need FEMA. You need a good state government. And when you have a problem in Los Angeles, or when you have a problem even in the state of California, you have your own, essentially FEMA. You fix it yourself. You don't have somebody coming in from a state where they have no idea, like Florida. They come in from hurricanes. They have people staying in Alaska. And now they see, oh, this is very nice. But by the time they get familiar with it, they don't know anything. The FEMA is a very expensive, in my opinion, mostly failed situation. We had great people. We did some great jobs. But each state should take care of their problem and get money from the federal government. It would be so much better, so much more efficient. So we're looking at that because we have had, and you're going to have problems with FEMA too. You've already had problems with FEMA. FEMA doesn't even show up. It takes weeks before they even show up.
They won't even show up.
And what happens is the state then relies on FEMA, and nobody does anything because FEMA doesn't show up. So it's not a good situation. So we'll make some recommendations on that. But you have to push like hell to get the permits, because I'm just hearing things that I don't like to hear. I think you're not going to get your permits as fast as people are saying. We have to get them. And Mayor, if I can help you at all in that regard, you'll let me know. But you're going to have all your federal permits. That's going to be the easy part, which, by the way, is by far the hardest part. You know who controls your water is Department of Commerce, and I already have that approval. And that's usually a very long process, but that's the hard part was the federal, but we already have that done. So anything I can do, please let me know. Please, go ahead. You lost all your schools. You lost four. You lost your 4 schools.
Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
Were they completely burned down, the schools? Wow. All of them? All of them? No, you can't. No.
Can't.
Well, I'm going to ask Rick to set, I think right from this table, you might put a couple of the fire guys back there on that I just met, okay? Because they're really good. But get a group and figure out how we can do the processing faster.
Mr. President, if I can just defend FEMA a little bit.
Oh my God, I hate this guy.
They brought thousands of people in. I don't know how they're doing in other states. They're doing a good job for us here. They've got a huge center that's open from 9 in the morning till 8 at night. But also, when you have a disaster this size, you need to be able to deploy thousands of people, which they've been able to do. Now, California, if we did it on our own, maybe we'd have thousands of people.
You do.
But if Rhode Island has
You
a
do.
Palisades disaster, are they then supposed to keep
How many
thousands?
people do you have in California? 36? How many
Close-
million?
close
How
to
many
40
million people do you have?
But
You have 40 million people. You're not going to get a few thousand people? The problem with FEMA is they come from all over the country. They end up in arguments with your people from California because they want to do it a totally different way. And
They're getting
I can
along
live
fine.
either way, but you haven't gotten very much done with FEMA and all you have to do is look at North Carolina. It's one of the great disasters of all time.
And Mr. President, you can't have Rhode Island maintain a staff of thousands and thousands of people waiting to see if they have a disaster.
Do you know who came in and fixed North Carolina or the process? Other states, people from all over the country came. And you have the same thing. You have a lot of people from all over the country. Getting the people is not a problem. Getting the organization's a big problem. FEMA's incompetently run, and it costs about 3 times more than it should cost.
I'm hoping
we
that
can
you can
spend
get it
money
better
on
run.
schools instead of giving money to bureaucracy. It takes you so much longer.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
It takes you so much longer.
FEMA for helping our people.
FEMA has a standard, Brad, and I'm a builder. I was a very good builder. FEMA has a standard that's so slow. They want permit on permit on permit, and then they want permits on top of that. If you use FEMA, you'll be here for a long time. What I'm saying is get the city, get the state to give you immediate 24-hour permits. These people are going to build their own homes. They're going to get them built fast. How many of the people, could I ask you one question? How many of the people, what are people going to do for financing? What are people going to do? How many people can build a home, a percentage-wise, like where they don't have to go out and get funds? Some people are just not going to be able to rebuild their home because they have a beautiful home, but they don't have cash, right?
Right.
So
Don't have the money.
what are people looking to do in that case? You're going to have a big percentage, I would assume, Brad, like that. What are they going to do? Go ahead.
Mr. President, without your help, they're only going to get $43,000 from the federal government, even if they have a half
Well,
million dollar
you did
uninsured
something,
loss.
Brad, where every insurance company in the country left California. That's why you have no insurance, because you made it so impossible. People that think like you made it so impossible. And you know,
Brad, me?
Yeah.
every insurance company.
I don't know.
Even the people there don't like
tell you
him.
this.
About my thinking.
I've never seen a state where almost nobody has insurance. And I said, what happened? And they said like 6 months ago they all left. And 2 years ago they had different, quadrants, but they left. And you have very little insurance here. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
We had a lot of insurance companies pull out, but I have
And
no
the
idea.
insurance
what-
companies actually have been warning you. Now, I'm not a big fan of insurance companies, okay? They have their big drawbacks too, but the insurance company, I read the papers very well, and they've been warning California for a long time. They've also been saying, we want water. You don't have water. You're supposed to get fire insurance. And the insurance company goes, you don't have any water in your fire hydrants. So it's a tough situation. I'm not a big fan of insurance companies. I get that.
They're pulling out of
But
Florida
Brad,
as
you
well.
lost your insurance company 6 months ago because the state wouldn't give them what they had to have.
Yeah, and Mr. President, I remember the
Go ahead,
creek-
please. Go ahead.
I'm Ed Ring from the California Policy Center, and in the matter of prevention of fires, in the matter of the cost of rebuilding, both of which affect insurance rates, I think one, to support something one of the other participants said, a reform you might consider, and it could be an act of Congress, is that the losers in environmentalist lawsuits pays the legal fees. And I think that would be a big step in the right direction.
The losers of a lawsuit should pay all the fees.
Oh, you mean loser pays. I love that. Well, if you did loser pays, you could cut your courts in you could cut them down about 90%. Loser pays. You know what would also benefit? Medical. If you had loser pays for medical, your medical costs would go down by 50%. That's an interesting thing. I bring that up, but the only problem? The strongest lobby in the world, you know what it is? The lawyer lobby. So when you go back to your local congressman, hello, congressman, how about going against the lawyers for a little while? No, loser pays you know, very good. In Europe, they use it in certain parts of Europe, and they have very little litigations, right? Yes, please.
Mr. President, I represent the 27th Congressional District, which is on the north side of the North San Fernando Valley through Santa Clarita and Lancaster and Palmdale. I just wanted to tell you a story of heroism. Yesterday, we had another big fire. We had several big fires across, and this fire was moving fast. It was moving 1,000 feet per minute. But what these heroes did, the firefighters and the sheriffs and the law enforcement officials, they mobilized 4,000 people within about 6 hours. They mobilized 20 air attack aircraft and helicopters, and they saved the city of Castaic. And so I just wanted to ask you to join us in recognizing those amazing heroes.
I love that.
Right on.
I think the thing that we all, and I'm very encouraged by your words, we're all here to help the folks here.
Yep,
right?
That's right.
And your work.
Let me know in the chat how long you think it's going to be before these guys actually get back at least cleaning up what's left of their properties, at least before they're all allowed back on their property to assess damage, that kind of thing. How long is that going to take? Let me know in the chat.
Words about building quickly, building well, but building quickly is what I think we are all here to do. And I think if we can take that spirit out of today, it is really important that you and your wife are here. If we can take that spirit, we're going to help these people as quickly as possible, get them back on their feet, and recreate these amazing communities that we have here.
And you'll take the word spirit, such a great word, such an important word. You'll take their guts away. You'll take their spirit away if you don't give them the permits. You're going to take their guts. They're going to say, oh, all of a sudden they'll start looking for houses, and your whole thing is going to blow up on you. These people want to get going. This place can go quickly, but you don't want to take their spirit away, and that will...
They're going to turn California red is what they're going to do if they can't get them back in their homes quickly.
Take their spirit away. So you're 100% right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
What?
Right. That's right. Oh, you noticed that. Oh, look at this guy. He studies that. No, Bank of America, they're not nice. Sounds very nice. The Bank of America, they're not nice. Well, we're doing numbers on banks, yeah. We're doing it. Is that Leonard Boxer next to you? Leonard? Huh? We have Leonard and we have, oh, there's Skip. I have them all here, huh? Look at Skip. I haven't seen you in a long time. You used to be a very good golfer. You still a good golfer? Huh? And he's a good guy, too. Hi, Skip. You got them all, huh? Got Leonard, Skip. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, I just wanted to say Paradise is coming back because of the help that you gave us, and we really want to thank you for that. And that's why we're here also, is because we want to help our
We did a good job with Paradise, didn't we? What a fire that was.
It was a terrible
We've
fire.
had many people were found, and only the certain type of German Shepherd could even find it, right? You could not tell. The dog would go right up. There's the body. And the incineration was so horrible. So horrible.
And when we see the same devastation.
So Paradise is going good, right?
It's going good. We're coming back.
Yeah,
And it's because of the help, and we want to help our brothers and sisters here in LA to come back too. And I know that's what you're going to do. And so we really appreciate that. But from Paradise to the Palisades, the problem is fuel. It's the fuel, the vegetation, the dry grasses, the chaparral. There's a tremendous amount of it, and we're not.
You got to remove it. You got to remove it, and you got to remove it, and you got to do the other things that we've said 10 times. I mean, you got to remove it. You just can't have it. I see it even now. I saw the fire. We flew over it, and you got a lot of dry stuff. It's bone dry.
And the environmental.
And you know, I predicted this 7 years ago. I said, "Do it, get it done," and everybody laughed. They thought it was. I said, "Forest management." They thought it was such a funny term. Ha ha ha! That's so funny. now it's not funny anymore, you know? We were right.
It's number one cause of these fires. Number one cause.
You wouldn't have any fires.
Right. And if we just remove those environmental regulations, NEPA, CEQA at the state level, that get in the way of us doing those projects.
It's all a con job, you know that, right? It's all
Berry
it's all
Creek,
a big con
the
job.
town of Berry Creek in my district,
Yeah.
CEQA stopped them from doing a fuel reduction project. They said 18 months. That's where 18 months comes from, because at least 18 months on a CEQA review. That community is no longer here today because of the North Complex fire. We didn't build that project. We need to make sure that never happens again. We have to stop those things from happening so we don't have.
Well, it will happen
in
here.
Palisades.
Unless you're very strong as a group of people and demand that you have the right to go onto your property and start the process immediately, like tomorrow.
They're going to have to fight the mayor right there because I just don't trust her. I don't think she's actually going to let them go back in.
How many people did I see on your street where they're standing in front of their lot? The house there's really not much demolition. It's incinerated, right? So it's not like a lot of stuff. It's not like you have 3 stories worth of concrete. It's all incinerated. And all of the people were standing there and they weren't allowed to even go onto their lot. You got to let them do. If you can do that, you're going to see this thing go like wildfire. And if you don't, you're going to have those lots for years because people are going to leave. They're going to, as much as you love your location and your place, and you're in the real estate business.
They're going to give up.
As much as you love your location and your site, your housing sites, they're going to leave. They're going to leave. They're going to find other.
I mean, they're couch surfing right now. Of course they're going to leave.
The things they're not going to put up with it. They have spirit now, but in a year from now they won't have spirit if you don't let them go. So just harness it. Well, I think, look, I'm going to give you everything you want. I'm going to give you more than any president would have ever given you. If most presidents wouldn't be here, number one, they certainly wouldn't be here after 3 days. They would not be here. I can tell you that. And we're going to override all of permitting. The only thing you have to do is get your state people, which should be very easy, because that's literally so easy to do. And I know the mayor, and I know she's working very hard, but she's got very powerful emergency, it's called an emergency petition, and you can petition very quickly. And I just hope you can give them, because it's very rare that the federal government would be ahead of the state government, because the federal permits are much tougher. But you essentially already have your permits. You can just go and go wild. Brad, as soon as you can get those permits, whatever you can do, if you can put that genius of yours to work on getting a permit, you'll be doing much better than some of the other things you've said, okay? But we do appreciate you.
Cold hit.
So, Mayor, could I just leave you with that? It's a big permitting deal. We're going to be back, and I'm going to put Rick in charge of just representing me for a period of time until we figure out exactly who we want to do it, whether we want a commission or an individual. You know, if you have a good individual, if you have a really good individual, and they are rare, but if you have a really good individual, it's always better than a commission, because a commission gets bogged down a little bit, Darrell, right? So it's if you had the right individual. And I know we do. We have a lot of great individuals in this community. But it's an honor to be with you. It was an honor to be with your firemen before and your policemen. We met some great people. And these are people that are leaders, and they're just fantastic. It's a fantastic group of people, and they were very brave. I want to tell you, your fire people are so well thought of. You had big fires, and it was hard to put them out, but boy, were they brave. They were really fighting against a tough thing, and everybody in the country knows it.
With no water.
Everybody in the country knows it.
Go figure.
And it was an honor to be with you. So I'll be back, and we'll work very hard, and I hope you guys can start doing your cleanup starting like tomorrow at around 12 o'clock, okay? Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Brad.
How long do you think it's going to take? I don't think they're in there right now, to be honest. I'm going to take 2 minutes and let my dog back in real quick, and then I'm going to come back and fire up another one to see what else Trump is doing. What other executive orders do I need to catch up on? If you guys have anything, throw me something, and I will check it out. All right, I'm back. Dog is back too, as you can see. He's right here. He's gonna kick it with us for a little bit, and then I don't know if he'll stay. We'll see. Anyway, let's see what else Trump is up to. See what's going on today. What have I missed? Make sure he's not live streaming right now, because if he is live, I want to check and see what's going on. Let me check the typical news. Let's do this one. Trump is going to be delivering remarks at No Tax on Tips event in Las Vegas. There's no way this is actually going to happen. No tax on tips? Come on, for real? You got to be kidding me. I wonder what time he's supposed to speak. Yeah, he's not even out here yet. What time is he supposed to do it, though? I wish they gave me like a schedule. I could see like when he's expected to be out here. But they have the camera going already. Trump to deliver remarks in Las Vegas. So there's actually like, let's see what this one is. Kristi Noem to be sworn in as Trump's DHS secretary. And I'm really excited for the White House press briefings to start again. I'm ready to actually have the media fire some questions at her. When is he supposed to speak? Awaiting President Trump in Nevada is what it says.
America is back. And that is pictured there, of course, of Kristi shaking hands with Trump. Again, she's the former governor of South Dakota. So
Kristi Noem's confirmation as Secretary of Homeland Security.
So this happened a little bit ago.
Oh, it's
she
her.
was repeatedly asked by Democratic senators as well whether or not
this
she would
chick.
administer disaster aid to states, even
We saw her campaigning for Trump a bunch.
so many people's minds as those devastating wildfires have broken out in Southern California, as well as some states are still trying to recover from the hurricanes that struck, including North Carolina. We did see Trump visit North Carolina, the western part in particular, just on Friday to visit those places that still have not gotten back up to par since those storms came through. But during that hearing, Noem did avoid saying that she would defy the president, but instead told lawmakers, I will deliver the programs according to the law and that it will be done with no political bias. So in his first term, for just a little bit of history here, 6 people did cycle through as Homeland Security Secretary during the first Trump 4 years in office. But Kristi Noem has said that does not concern her. She was asked that same question.
My chat is dead. Nobody wants to talk to me today. Besides the one guy who accused me of being disrespectful to Trump when I didn't say anything. I guess he thought I was like a liberal or something. Huh. Nobody wants to talk to me. I don't know what's going on. They're taking a commercial break, so that's not helpful at all. But yeah, it says he's going to be out here shortly, so let me bring the actual feed from the White House up, because that's way better than whatever news media is trying to throw at me. Usually their audio isn't very good. So we'll go with the White House, because that's going to be the better one. And then I'll bring it back. Yeah, this is it. We will begin shortly. President Trump gives speech on no tax on tips policy in Las Vegas. I imagine there's a lot of waiters and waitresses in Las Vegas that are really excited for this. So we'll see. I had to make a quick run and get the old Coke Zero on deck. I'm already 2 Red Bulls in today with my mega caffeine addiction. But yeah, he'll be out here shortly. And by shortly, that means never, because Trump never shows up on time. For whatever reason, he is never out very quickly. He will take an hour to get out to his rally. But you would think this would start shortly because he actually put the live stream on whitehouse.com. So you would think they'd be like ready to go, but maybe not. So anyway, tell me, what is going on right now? What is the main executive orders that people are looking forward to? I know he launched a bunch on his first day, and this is one of his campaign promises right here, actually, that he was going to do no tax on tips. So it'd be great if he actually came out and said that that was true. And I'm wondering, like, what qualifies as a tip? Is it just waiters and waitresses, or do you not tax YouTubers, maybe streamers? That'd be pretty cool, right? Or who else gets tips? Uber drivers, DoorDash, they get tips. Is there gonna be something to where they don't get tipped now too? Or is it just waiters and waitresses? I don't know. I know he announced this at like a Mexican restaurant, so that's probably who he had in mind was the waiters, the waitresses. But depending on how it's worded, maybe we got a new tax loophole. The thing that I'm really waiting on is allegedly in the rumor mill, there's going to be an executive order where you do not tax crypto made in the United States, which to me just seems like such a huge tax loophole. Like, that just seems insane, especially if they tokenize assets. If you could tokenize like your house on a blockchain, does that mean you could like avoid paying property taxes somehow? I don't know. This year is like, there's so many new things that you kind of just have to like ponder over, like just so many things that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. I mean, just him coming out with an executive order that there's only 2 genders. Like, me growing up, I never thought I would see something like that. Ever. I never expected that to be a thing. But apparently that's a thing. That's a real thing. I never thought we would see a president who launched a cryptocurrency. They got the Trump coin. Like, I don't know, man. This year is already weird. It's already weird. But yeah, if they don't tax US made cryptocurrencies and you could tokenize all of your assets, that would be a huge tax loophole, I'm assuming. Think about it. Think if you could tokenize your stocks. Say you took your 401k and cashed it out and put it into tokens on the blockchain that are like fractionalized. And then when you went to retirement and you're slowly having to sell off on those, you wouldn't pay taxes at all. Yeah? Infinite money loop, maybe? I don't know. We just have to see. But this one's cool. This is, no tax on tips for like waitresses and waiters. That's very cool. I'm digging it. That's gonna help them out a lot. Let's be real. Most of the waitresses that I know were not paying taxes on their tips anyway. So it's not like it's going to financially probably hurt America. Most that I've seen took the cash, pocketed it. They're not calculating, okay, I made this much this day, I need to report this on my taxes. I've never seen that in my lifetime. So, yeah. I don't know if there's more to come to after this one. Like, what else he's got going on. Yeah, it says Trump is soon to speak. But there are a few other things I want to check out that's been in the news. Trump fires 17 independent watchdogs. Pete Hegseth's swearing in ceremony was today. I don't know a lot about him, but that'd be kind of cool to check that out. Kristi Noem confirmed to be the DHS head after Hegseth was sworn in, so that's definitely there. There used to be a really good news site that I would go to, and I can't remember who they were, but they were really quick to get the live streams going, so where we would know what is actually going on in the day. Actually, I think I have their app on my phone. What were they called? What were they called? Who are you? I put AP News. I think they lean kind of left, but usually their YouTube account is really quick to have at least data to look at and see what their channel looks like. I mean, they're probably going live at the same event here that the White House is going live at. Everybody's going to be looking at this no tax on tips thing, for now at least. But they usually are on point with getting information on what's going on in the world. Let's check out their live stream, see what they got. Yeah, so they're not live right now. Surprisingly, that they're not looking at this tax on tips thing. That's a little weird. But you had Palestine prisoners being released. And then I think the big thing today was the Hegseth is sworn in as defense secretary. I think that's probably the big thing for today. And the freed Israeli hostages. That's definitely big. But what I'm looking for specifically is Trump news. I'm wanting to know executive orders for like what's actually happening in America. I'm not too concerned. I want to know how my life is changing. I'm not worried about other parts of the world right now. I just want to see this no tax on tips thing. And is my chat broken? Is that what this is? Nobody wants to talk to me? Let me try it out. See if it works. Testarino. Oh, it does work. So that's confirmation people just don't want to talk to me. Bummer. I wonder what the time frame is for when he's supposed to be out here. What do we got? I got 3:23. And he's still not out here yet. Let's see. See what else is going on in the world. I'm going to switch back and see what's going on here.
It's the most important priority. It's the only thing that will matter when we take our last breath on this earth. But this is an extraordinary opportunity that would not have been possible without God's blessings. I'm honored and I'm privileged, cognizant of responsibility, and I want to thank President Trump for his confidence. We will work hard every second of the day to help him achieve the agenda the American people have given him to achieve. Thank you. Thanks for being a part of this today. God bless all of you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Marco Rubio being sworn in. Let's see if I can get.
Thank you.
See if he's gonna take. Oh, he didn't take questions.
All right, that was the swearing-in ceremony for Marco Rubio as he was sworn in as Secretary of State, one of the highest offices in our entire country. We did want to bring that to you here on Live Now. Again, we're still monitoring this live look there in our nation's capital as we are waiting for Kristi Noem to be sworn in as the Homeland Security Secretary. Again, her confirmation vote was just a few hours ago there in D.C., but now they are already moving on to the confirmation, I should say, to the official ceremony where she will be sworn in. All right, we are going to step away now for a 2-minute break. Stay right here with us on Live Now.
Oh, come on. Live Now. Switch back to Trump, I guess. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to press briefings and seeing the media try to attack again, what kind of questions they're going to ask. They got a new press secretary, so I don't know a lot about her. Kind of wanting to see her first go at it just to see what she's like. Even this Trump rally here says he's moments away.
Auto industry,
Let's see what they're talking about.
Means jobs, 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 and more jobs for the broader American economy. And we're seeing this actually across the board with national security as well, and other outlets mentioning that the U.S. southern border has seen a sharp drop in illegal immigrant encounters in the first days of the Trump administration compared to the final few days of the Biden administration. ICE is at work rounding up illegal criminal aliens. And that's the thing that's so important here, because you have Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker still talking several different talking points regarding that. He's going to protect his residents. But we know Section 8 of U.S. Code 1324, it is illegal to harbor illegal aliens in the United States. If you do, you can be arrested. It's a felony, punishable of up to 1 year or more in federal prison. And Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago, these gentlemen, both residents of the city of Chicago, know the crime, know what's happened to that once beautiful city, really the stalwart of the American middle class, the city of broad shoulders, coming to a decline because of illegal immigration. And ICE and border agents and DHS all moving in this past week under the leadership of Border Czar Tom Homan, and now they will soon have Kristi Noem in place at the Department of Homeland Security, and partners like Pam Bondi hopefully will be confirmed to being Attorney General. Kash Patel over at the FBI. We're waiting for those finishing the conclusion of those hearings and forthcoming votes. But we also have John Ratcliffe at the CIA, and of course our Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who will all help to orchestrate this peaceful removal of these criminal illegal aliens, because we know now that President Trump has also authorized that Tren de Aragua and MS-13 and the cartels at the border are now all foreign terrorist organizations. And we have at least 1,500 Marines that have been sent to the southern border in order to engage and eliminate those cartels and their operations on the southern border. President Trump has pledged that at least 10,000 troops might be sent over time to the southern border to end this once and for all. We've had hundreds of thousands of people killed, poisoned because of fentanyl coming in from China through the southern border in Mexico. And President Trump has been very clear with the Chinese premier, Xi Jinping, that...
Joseph says good. I mean, that's what Trump said he was going to do. He is keeping his promises. All these illegal aliens are going back, especially ones that have criminal records. That's no surprise, right? No surprise here at all.
Seriously, on top of the 325,000, think about this, 325,000 children still missing from the southern border. And we know that because ICE and the Border Patrol have confirmed these numbers. But ICE continues to work rounding up criminal aliens as we get a shot here of the classy Christina Loren.
What is she
and
saying?
We'll toss it out to her in Las Vegas.
They're doing no tax on tips speech. Trump is about to come out here. I don't know what's wrong with this chick's mic.
Everybody is out here dancing. They are having a blast. And you know, it's so interesting. If you've been following our coverage all day long, thank you for doing so if that is the case. You'll notice a lot of familiar faces out there in the crowd. These are people that we had a chance to get to know personally and find out why they are here. And now they're up there dancing, they're having a good time. And I think for the American people, they just want to know that their voices are heard. And a venue like this, a platform like RSBN makes that happen. And one of the ways that we're able to do so consistently, because RSBN has not slowed down at all ever since President Donald J. Trump was elected on election night, November 5th, 2024. We brought you that all-night coverage. We haven't slowed down. And the reason why is because you need this coverage. I think that Donald J. Trump needs an unedited live voice, unfiltered, to show the truth about how much he cares about this country.
So if you're just joining me, Donald Trump is going to be giving a speech. He's talking about his campaign promise of no tax on tips. I don't know what he's going to come out here and say. If he comes out here and he drops executive order, no tax on tips for waitresses, that's going to make me ask a lot of questions, like who qualifies for that? Is it just food service people? Like, how's that going to work? Very curious to see what's going on here. But we're just waiting for Trump to get out here now.
Get right with this. This has been in high demand, and there are still supplies, but they are going quickly. This is a rugged yet sleek knife.
She's trying to sell you a knife with Trump's name on it. Don't buy that. That's some bullshit. They need money, apparently. RSBN, that news source. But anyway, I'm not going to let her sell you the knife. I'm going to mute her. That way you don't have to hear it until she switches back and she starts talking about actual news. But really, they're stalling.
Knife, beautifully crafted with
Yep, she's still talking about it. They're stalling the same way I'm stalling. I don't want to hear her. So there is, I'll show you what we're waiting on here. Actually, switch back to Marco Rubio. There we go. He was sworn in as Secretary of State.
Together in the Florida legislature, in fact, sat next to each other on the floor. Who would have thought, Mario, back in the day? And now here we are, you know, and two Cuban Americans. If we had a third, they'd call it a conspiracy, but there's only two, so we're in shape. Congresswoman Lois Frankel, we also served in the legislature together. Again, I know this. I know it looks suspicious. She just happens to be from Florida as well, and she happened to be on that committee. And then, of course, my colleague, Brian Mast, who thank you for being here as well. I have asked them as a personal favor to be nice to each of you who we send over to testify and appear before their committees. So, and to be nice to us when they write those appropriations bills and pass those laws. But we are great. I'm really grateful you would join us because our partnership will be critically important. I want to thank President Trump for nominating me. This is an extraordinary honor and a privilege to serve.
Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. Switch back. Switch back. Where are we at? Where are we at? Oh, I had it. Oh, I had it over here. There she is. All right, maximize. Turn the volume on. She needs to step back up to the mic. And she's leaving. Why is she leaving? I thought they were starting. And they cut the volume. So maybe she's not starting yet. I lied. She just came out there as a little teaser. Let's go back to Marco Rubio.
Beyond that, this is the face of the United States. In fact, if you think about it, for many people on this planet, their only interaction with America, most will never travel here, their only interaction with America in many cases, whether they be leaders or everyday people, will be the men and women who serve us abroad and do so with tremendous integrity and dedication. They are literally the face of our country, whether it's through the aid we've provided or through the services. I also want to say hello. And
Somebody's about to start. Who is it? It's this one. They cut the camera off. Why did they cut the camera? She didn't swear in yet. They just cut her off. Whatever. Anyway.
But I want to tell you that I want to thank you all those.
Trump's still not out here yet. We're waiting on him.
Places that are strong and stable and others that are more tenuous and dangerous. And I want to do something also special. I want to also thank the locally employed staff, the nationals of those countries who work with us.
Yeah. Back to him.
Without their
Ladies
help,
and
without their
gentlemen,
Here we go.
Please welcome the 45th and 47th President of the United States.
There it is.
Donald J. Trump.
There it is. What is going on here? Okay. Hold on. There we go. That's not the White House feed, though. Let's not do this one. Let's do the Trump feed. Or White House feed, whatever you want to call it. Let's find that one. White House, yeah. That's the one. The audio is way better in the White House one. They're gonna try and get me banned. He's still going. I'm surprised he's still coming out to this music. There we go. Come on. Get over with. Da 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 da. Come on. Da 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 da. Anyway. Should be a minute. They're all taking pictures of him. How long is this song? Jesus. Alright, so this is Trump. He's going to be talking about no taxes on tips.
Hello, Nevada.
Las Vegas.
Thank you. Well, we won. And it's great to be back in this beautiful city to celebrate the historic first week in the White House. That was definitely historic.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of help in winning. Joe Lombardo, your governor, is here someplace. Where's Joe? Thank you, Joe. You're looking good, Joe. Thank you very much. What a group. But look at who you have next to you. How can you fail with that guy? Also, Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony. Stavros, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Where are you? There you are, Stavros. You're very good. Is he doing a good job, Joe? I think so, huh? He's all right. Nevada GOP Chair Michael McDonald. He did something which not a lot of people have been able to do, but I think Republicans are going to start winning this state. You know, typically they don't necessarily do so good. We did really well. We won in a landslide. That's really why I'm here, I must be honest with you.
He usually starts out his speeches rambling on, bragging about stuff. But in this one, he is supposed to be talking about no tax on tips. So that's why I'm interested.
Icicle, thank you very much. Republican National Committeeman Jim DeGraffenreid. That's a hell of a beautiful name, but I know the name so long, it's easy to say. One of the greatest people, I'll tell you, a man who's done so damn well. I don't know what it is with him. He's just a legend. He's one person, you know, we can all sort of be replaced, although we don't like to think that. Maybe it's not true. But this is a guy that can't be replaced. There's nobody like him. Dana White. Where's Dana White? Where is Dana White?
Of course, Dana White's in Vegas. Who would have thought?
Where the hell is he? UFC. He's great. Are the Nelk Boys here? Oh, yeah, there they are, the Nelk Boys right there. And Rick Harrison. Rick, thank you very much for being here. You're around here someplace with Dana. Mr. Phil Ruffin, his wife Alexandra, and their two beautiful children, Richard and Marlena. Phil? Where's Ruffin? Where's Phil Ruffin? He's right here, so he's some legend, I'll tell you. He's a legend in Las Vegas and beyond. Phil, he's here. He'll be coming out. Today we talk about how we're going to end the economic suffering and stagnation and disaster of the past 4 years and create the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And as I said in my inaugural address, which, by the way, it got the highest rating in the history of Fox. Can you believe that? That's nice. The golden age of America begins right now, but I have to be honest with you, I'm really here for a different reason. I'm here to say thank you. I went to North Carolina yesterday, and then I flew to see just an unbelievable problem and just a mess in Los Angeles, right? And I said, you know what I ought to do? I want to come to a state known as Nevada. Has anyone ever heard of it? And don't ever mispronounce the name. You're not allowed to do that, Joe. You mispronounce the name, you got a problem. You ever see somebody when they say it's Nevada? Nevada? No, they're in deep trouble. I want to come to Nevada to pay my respects because this is the only Republican win of this state in decades, and it was a very big landslide. So, but I think Republicans are going to win a lot now. But we had a big win, and it was an early win, and that was a bad signal for the Democrats. They heard that we were leading so big here, and Joe helped us so much, and a lot of people in this room helped us a lot. Special group. And so I said, you know what I'll do? We're going to fly around it. And I said, let's fly right over it. Let's land, and I'll do something, and I'll just say it. But I want to say it, and I'm almost saying it right here for the media. I just came here because I wanted to thank the people of Nevada for giving us such a big win. A lot of great friends. I better not introduce them all. I'll be here all day. Under our leadership, we're going to defeat inflation, bring down prices. We're going to raise those wages. They're going to go up. They're going to go up.
I thought he didn't want to do that.
Money in your pocket, secure our borders, restore law and order to our cities, and we're going to make America great again. And for 4 long years, the last administration waged war on the American middle class and everybody else. They had a lot of wars. We had no wars when I left. You know, we defeated ISIS, and we stayed out. Nobody wanted to mess with us. They had a lot of wars. We're trying to put them out. We'll get them put out. Don't worry, we'll get them put out. We were headed to World War III. I'm telling you, we would have had problems like you wouldn't believe. They shut down American energy, buried you in crippling regulation, imposed hidden taxes, and spent trillions and trillions of dollars on waste, corruption, and radical left lunacy. These were lunatics. The result was the most brutal inflation in a half a century, perhaps ever, in this country, I think ever, and soaring prices for food, groceries, and other household goods. The people of Nevada are now paying nearly $1,200 per month more to make ends meet since I left office. Think of that, $1,200 at least. But since I became the 47th president at noon on Monday, I've been moving with urgency and historic speed to fix every single calamity of the Biden administration that they've created. And this week alone, I took nearly 350 executive actions to reverse the horrible failures and betrayals that we inherited from a group of people that didn't know what the hell they were doing.
It's a lot.
What they've done to this country, especially the open borders, where they have, think of it, 21 million people came in. Many of them are criminals, murderers. Well, we're getting them out. You see it. You see it yesterday, first day. Our message could not be more clear. America's decline is over. American decline is over. We're laughed at all over the world. Now we're not laughed at anymore, I'll tell you. What the world witnessed this week is nothing less than a revolution of wealth creation for everyone and also common sense. It's about common sense. It really is. We're the party of common sense.
Yeah, bringing water back to California.
I directed every member of my cabinet to, and by the way, Pete Hegseth got approved. And Kristi Noem just got approved, Governor. She's going to keep it. She's tough. She's a tough one. She's a tough one. And she's going to do a great job. On day one, I directed every member of my cabinet to marshal all powers at their disposal to defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life. We want to bring prices down. Too high. They went way up. They didn't come down.
Yep.
I imposed a federal hiring freeze, a federal regulation freeze, a foreign aid freeze. Oh, that's a nice one. And I created the new Department of Government Efficiency, and we're going to have a lot of good people. Elon, we're going to get Elon Musk to get involved in that a little bit. He already is.
I'm with you, Randall. Yes.
People like him. I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Scam. Wasn't the environment supposed to eat us up like in 12 years? But that was like 13 years ago. What happened? We're still here. We're still here. Remember, we have 12 years to live. Remember that? Done by somebody that never even took a course on the environment. AOC plus 3. Do you remember those three? They were telling us about the environment. AOC plus 3. This action alone will save hundreds of billions of dollars of American taxpayers' money. I withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord. And I canceled the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. Keeping my sacred pledge to America's auto workers. Boy, did we get a big vote with the auto workers, I'll tell you. And the Teamsters, any Teamster in the room? We got a tremendous vote from the Teamsters. Thank you. They're pointing like one guy on it. But they voted for us in the millions. We had a lot of Teamsters voting for us. I withdrew from the World Health Organization, where we paid $500 million a year, and China paid $39 million a year, despite a much larger population. Think of that. China's paying $39 million. They have 1.4 billion people. We pay $500 million. We have, nobody knows what the hell we have. Does anyone know? We have so many people pouring in. We have no idea. We go up, but we're going down a little bit now. You don't mind that, do you? Gonna take some bad ones out. I withdrew 4 years ago, but Biden immediately went back for even more money. I mean, he went back, and they offered me at $39 million. They said, we'll let you back in at 39. So we're going to reduce it from 500 to 39. I turned them down because it became so popular. I didn't know if it would be well received even at 39. But maybe we would consider doing it again. I don't know. Maybe we would. They have to clean it up a little bit. But China pays $39 million for $1.4 billion, and we're paying $500 million for $325 million. I don't know. What the hell is wrong with these people? And then when Biden went back in, you know, they immediately went back in. They paid more than we were paying in the first place. They paid more than the $500 million. So they knew they could have had it for 39. They paid more. You wouldn't do that, Joe, right? Now think of it. They know they have a deal at 39, so they went back in at $525 million. What the hell? Man, oh man. It infuriates you, doesn't it? I declared a national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of the new energy infrastructure.
Thanks for the like.
The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we may be a very substantially enlarged country in the not too distant. Isn't it nice to see, you know, for years, for decades, we're the same size to the square foot. Probably got smaller, actually. But we might be an enlarged country pretty soon. And one of the things we're going to be doing is drill, baby, drill. Because that's going to bring everything down. It's going to bring everything down. My administration has also begun the largest deregulation campaign in the history of our country, far exceeding. I had the record for you. We had a great economy. We had the greatest economy that we've ever had 4 years ago. But this is going to be better. You watch. This will be better even than the first term. And the reason I got elected was because of the first term. You know, somebody said, "What was the reason you got elected?" I mean, you won by so much. I said, "My first term." You know, that's all I did. I just said, well, take a look at the numbers. Take a look at the numbers. In total, the Biden administration imposed $50,000 in additional regulation costs on the average American. I mean, think of this. The average American was paying much more than $50,000. And, you know, just think of it. Nobody can even believe the numbers. I promised to eliminate 10 old regulations for every new regulation. So if we put in a regulation, we have to get rid of 10. That's what I did. I did it 1 in 7. We're going to do 1 in 10 this time, which will soon put many thousands of dollars back into your pockets and the pockets of American families.
So he's going to be talking about no tax on tips. That was one of his campaign promises, to have no taxes for waiters and waitresses. He's supposed to be coming out here in Vegas to tell us about his campaign promise on that.
Structure, which is going to be very big for Nevada, I have to tell you, the largest in history, and which will create an estimated 100,000 American jobs. Saudi Arabia just said that they're going to invest at least $600 billion. This is because of the election, by the way. And I believe they'll make it $1 trillion. I'm going to ask them to make it $1 trillion. What the hell? The money means nothing to them. You know where they made their money? From liquid gold, right? They got a lot of liquid gold. We have more. We have more than Saudi Arabia. They've got a lot. We've got more. We got more than anybody. We just don't use it because of the environment. These people are crazy. And many other companies likewise are looking to invest, but I don't have enough time to do that. And we have a lot of news conferences. Everybody wants to have a news conference. You know, they're calling up by the hundreds. We want to have a news conference. We're going to invest $12. I said, no, I don't do that. And I said, it's got to be $1 billion or more for a news conference. It's $1 billion or more. Just 2 days ago, because of our tariff plans, Stellantis announced, that's a very good automobile company, the revival of its Belvidere, Illinois plant, saving 1,500 American auto jobs that were previously headed to Canada, along with major investments to expand American auto production in Detroit, Michigan, Toledo, Ohio, and Kokomo, Indiana. Good place. All of these investments are happening only because of our historic victory. And if we didn't win, it'd be just the opposite. They're pulling out. They were pulling out. They were really pulling out. So they would be withdrawing money. Our country was on the verge of some of the very bad things, and bad things were happening. And now there's light not only over America. I've heard it from even our enemies. They call up and they say, sir, we hate you. We do hate you, but there's light over the world right now. They hate me. Some of them hate me. If they liked me, you got a problem, right? They like Sleepy Joe. What's not to like? You know, they'd call up. It's funny. I was told today by one of the big leaders of the world, would call for a telephone call with the President of the United States a year ago. And they'd say, would like to speak with, who is this? It's the head of Germany, the head of, it's, name it, the head of France, the name of any country, it didn't matter. He would never pick up the call. They'd say, he'll call you back in 2 months. 2 months. Yeah, it's his schedule. He's extremely busy sleeping. No. Macron of France, he'll call you back in 2 months. So 2 months comes along and there's no call. They say, he didn't call. The stories are, I mean, these stories are not very exaggerated. I want to tell you, they're a little bit for laughter, but, you know, it's only for laughter. The fake news will say, oh, he exaggerated. It was only 1 month, you know.
I don't hate Trump. This man is a God-given gift. That's pretty funny. I don't care who you are.
The problem I have is that when I speak to and I speak to them immediately, they'll say, could we speak to the president? Would that be possible? We could do it anytime over the next month. They're so used to this, right? I say, no, I'll pick it up right now. Is he on the phone? Yeah, hello, how you doing? That's what, you know, get it over with, right? Get it over.
Just do it. Thank you for that second like.
Problem, they were so starved for love from the United States, I cannot get them off the phone. I can't get people, if you can't, I say, I have to go now, King, or I have to go now, President. But you can't get them off the phone. They're starved for love. You know, for years they haven't spoken. They didn't even know we had a president, if you want to know. But under our leadership, America is back open for business, and it's really a big thing. It's really a big thing. And they have, though. They said, you know, there's like a light all over the world now. It's not just here. We feel the light over our country. Everyone does. But there's a light all over the world. We've accomplished more in 1 week than other administrations have accomplished in 4 years, and we're just getting started. We got rid of the woke. We got rid of the woke crap. What a lot of stuff. What a lot of crap that was. It was, and you know, these people were petrified of it. I'll tell you, these companies, they run these big companies, they were petrified of it. It was like, you know, I don't think they believed it. I'm sure they didn't believe it. Some I know didn't believe it, but they were so afraid. Near the top of the agenda for our historic Republican majorities in Congress is to pass a massive tax cut for American workers and families. Last year, we campaigned across the country on a pledge that I'm sure most of you didn't hear too much about. Pledge to take the Trump tax cuts and make them permanent, and that's exactly what we're doing. In the coming weeks, I'll be working with Congress to get a bill on my desk that cuts taxes for workers, families, small businesses, and very importantly, keeps my promise for a thing called, and I know you didn't hear anything about this, and I'm sure it had no influence on the state, the fact that we won this crazy, massive majority, a state that hadn't been won by a Republican in decades. But I'm sure you haven't heard, but we're going to get it for you. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. So if you're a restaurant worker, a server, a valet, a bellhop, a bartender, or one of my caddies, I go through caddies like candy. If I play badly, I always blame my caddy. Or any other worker who relies on tipped income, your tips will be 100% yours. Won't that be nice?
Did I come back just as he was announcing it? 100% yours. He's talking about the taxes.
Joe, Governor, do you think that had an impact on the election? You do? Like what, a half a point? Pretty big. You had an impact, let me tell you. Nationwide, over 4 million workers depend on tip income, including an estimated 700,000 single moms. And here in Nevada, we will have a quarter. Think of it. A quarter of the typical restaurant worker's pay comes from tips. I didn't know that much. That's a lot. You haven't been reporting them for the last 10 years.
That's the thing that I was thinking. Like, all these waitresses, they get cash. I've never seen a waitress or a waiter report their tips ever. So this was an easy win anyway. But I do want to know, how is it going to work?
So here's our deal. We're going to have no tax on tips from now on, but we're going to go after you viciously for all the money you didn't report for the last 10, 15.
Shit.
We're going to go after you for all the money you didn't report for. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I have to say to the fake news, because they're going to say Trump is after all restaurant workers. Many of these workers are some of the very citizens who were hit hard and very hard by the ravages of the Biden economy, which was inflation. When I think of Biden, I think of incompetence and inflation. Not being nice by saying. I'm being nice when I say that. Yet even in the midst of the suffering he created, Joe Biden launched a cruel campaign to extract more money from tip workers, and that's what happened. I'm telling you, a young waitress, I won't say beautiful because you're not allowed to say that as a politician. Used to be you could say a young, beautiful waitress. This was a young, beautiful waitress, but I won't say that because I feel like I want to continue my political career. If you call the governor won't say it. If you call a woman beautiful today, it's the end of your political career, so I won't do it.
Okay.
But a young waitress, I think you could call young. You're probably not even supposed to say young. Probably supposed to say a waitress. But a young waitress came up, and I said, how are you doing? And in my restaurant, in the hotel, and Trump, I said, how are you doing? And she said, not great, because they're after me so viciously for tips. They just want my tip income, and they don't believe me, and all of this. And she said, it's terrible. You know, sir, you should have no tax on tips. I said, what? I said, what'd you just say? No tax on tips. That was about the amount of my consultation. It's true. No tax. I said, what did you just say? Say those words again. Sir, no tax on tips. I said, thank you very much. You just won the election for me. No, we did research into it. I think it's going to be great. But under the Trump administration, the forgotten men and women of our country are going to be forgotten no longer. You know that. They weren't forgotten 4 years ago. On day one, I immediately halted the hiring of any new IRS agents. You know, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you, and we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. I think we're going to move them to the border. Well, they're allowed to carry guns. You know, they're so strong on guns, but these people are allowed to carry guns, so we'll probably move them to the border. Yeah. She said no tax on it. How about just no tax?
Just no tax, yeah. Okay. Let's just get rid of tax.
You could do that. You know, if the tariffs work out like I think, a thing like that could happen, if you want to know the truth. You know, years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. What we had is tariffs, where foreign countries came in and they stole our jobs, they stole our companies, they stole our product, they ripped us off. And, you know, they used to do numbers, and then we went to a tariff system, and the tariff system made so much money. It was when we were the richest, from 1870 to 1913. Then we brilliantly came in with an income tax. No, we don't want others to pay, let's have our people pay. And then you had the Depression in 1928, 1929. I call it 1929. That was a bad time, but you know, you didn't have tariffs, and you had tariffs that ended in 1913. But it was the richest our country ever was. That was President McKinley. In fact, we're renaming the mountain, Mount McKinley in Alaska. You know what else we're renaming? We're renaming the Gulf of Mexico.
He's not really doing that. I really thought that was a joke. There's no way he's renaming the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America.
Into the Gulf of America.
No, you're not. Come on.
And Mexico, actually, they were thrilled when they heard. They said, that's nice. A few months from now, when I sign our tax cut into law, we're going to deliver for the tip-earning men and women who make it all work. I mean, it's going to be something very special, I think, for you. It's going to be a big difference. And with us today is Jessica Angiano, an employee here at Circa. This is a nice place, by the way, and I just met your owner. He's a nice man. He's rich, too, very rich. But Circa is very nice, and a hardworking single mother of two with incredible children. Jessica's struggling to pay for medical bills to remove a tumor behind her right eye. She's had some real difficulty, and she's currently saving up for a second surgery, which will hopefully be very successful, while also paying for her children's daycare. Jessica says that no tax on tips would transform her life. It would make such a big difference. So, Jessica, we're going to get that for you. Where are you, Jessica? You around here someplace, huh? Hi, Jessica. Oh, so beautiful. Very nice. It's working out medically good. Everything good? Gonna be good. And it's gonna. You look fantastic. It's good. You look great. Also with us is Lexi York, a 28-year-old cocktail server here at Circa, who's got big dreams of being an entrepreneur. Lexi says that no tax on tips will help bring those dreams much closer to reach, and she's going to be one of the biggest proponents for it. We're going to have a lot of support when we go before Congress very soon to get that passed. Lexi, where are you? Where are you? Hi, Lexi. Wow. Good. We'll get it done. And we're also pleased to be joined by Rosanna Maeda, President and CEO of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, which strongly supports this pro-worker reform. And Rosanna, would you like to come up and say a few words on behalf of so many people? Come on up. Come on up.
See what she has to say. Where is she? Where? Oh, there she is. Okay.
Hello, Mr. President. On behalf of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, I'm so honored to be here today. We represent 30,000 members around the country in an industry that represents more than 2 million hotel workers. And I'm here to tell you that the American dream is alive and well in the hotel industry today. It is still one of the few places where you can have and grow your career, starting a job as a housekeeper or a dishwasher or bellhop, to running a hotel, to owning a hotel or a few, and to even becoming the CEO of a global brand or President of the United States. Mr. President, in 2017, the tax bill that you championed cut taxes for so many working families and American workers. It helped small businesses, hotel owners in our country who make up the majority of the industry reinvest in the economy, spurring jobs and growing and strengthening the economy. And the no tax on tips builds on that momentum, and so we're so excited to support you in that effort. That's why we're here today. We stand with you to urge Congress to pass this proposal so that more than the 800,000 hotel workers who benefit from these from tips, many who are here in the room today, representing all types of jobs, from restaurant workers to housekeepers to bellhops and so many others, can take home more of the pay that they earn every day. So thank you for having us and for promoting this proposal.
Right on.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Great. After long years, and these were long years of a government that always put you last. They put America last, they put you last, they put everybody last that was associated with us. You once again have a president who's putting our workers first, putting our families first, and above all, putting America first. And we're going to keep America first, and you see it. We're restoring our prosperity. We're restoring our borders. We're restoring our strength, our dignity, and our pride. We've been hurt badly by this group of people. This group of people, they didn't have a clue what the hell was happening. It's so disgraceful that they were allowed to do it. But quite honestly, we're restoring our country. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency at our southern border. I sent active duty troops to the border to help repel the invasion. Tom Homan is leading the charge. You know that. We like Tom Homan, right?
Did I miss him announcing anything about the tax on tips? I know he talked about it, but he didn't really say anything about it. If it was approved or what he's doing, anything.
Doing a great job. We immediately halted all illegal entry and began sending every border trespasser and violator back to the places from which they came. I signed an order that will designate the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. It's a big deal. That's a big deal. Biden didn't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. Biden didn't know he was alive. Damn. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do that. I always wanted to do it, you know? I mean, think of it. Is that a terrorist organization or what? And we began to leverage the full and immense power of federal government and state government and enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks bringing devastating crime to American soil. And we don't allow people to enter our country and to dump their prisons into the United States of America anymore. When we see that, our people are instructed to do whatever they have to do. They can do whatever the hell they want to do. Throughout this week, the heroes of ICE have been hunting down and arresting hundreds of illegal alien criminals. And its immediate expulsion, including those with charges of convictions for rape, child sexual assault, terrorism, and even murder. Members of the savage Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. You know that gang? This is not a nice group of people. They formed in prison, and then they dumped their prisons into our country. So we had them. We had them all over the place. Ask Colorado, the governor of Colorado. He doesn't know what to do about it. They're all over the place. We'll get them out. We'll get them out. They're, in a sense, they're in the real estate business. They go into a building and they take it, you know? See, when you buy a building, you have to go out and get a mortgage or use your own cash. They just go into a building and take it. And they actually said, well, it's not that bad. They haven't taken that many buildings. Can you imagine that? They haven't taken that many buildings. Oh, they're not that bad. But they're as bad as the bloodthirsty MS-13 gangs that we have gotten thousands and thousands of them out. In fact, over 11,000 murderers were released into our country by other countries all over the world because of Biden's open border policy. And when I heard about that, I said, everybody's gonna empty out their prisons into our country. I said that, I'd do that if I were heading up any one of the many countries that you know about, not just South America, all over. They take their prisons, their mental institutions, and they empty them out into our country. Can you imagine a person doing this? Can you imagine somebody doing that to our country? For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 was truly Liberation Day. That was really Liberation Day. This week, I also signed an order to end the weaponization of our government against American people and political people like me. We never had a thing like that. He went after his political opponent. Who would have thought he helped me? I think he helped me get elected, Joe. You want to know the truth? I became much more popular. I'm the only guy that ever became more popular when something like that happened. But these guys were just so inept. We had the guy deranged Jack Smith, deranged. He was a deranged human being. But they thought this way Biden could sneak by and he could win an election, another cheating in another election. That's what it was. But we won. We won. You think that was fun? You think that was easy? It wasn't fun. And investigate all of the abuses of power. I pardoned hundreds of political prisoners who had been viciously persecuted by the Biden regime. Hundreds of people were persecuted, including Christians, pro-life activists, 2 Washington, D.C. police officers just yesterday, whose lives were destroyed from chasing down a dangerous illegal alien criminal. And of course, I was very proud to pardon the J6 hostages. Once and for all, I stopped government censorship and we brought back free speech in America. We brought it back. We did more in this last week. People can't even believe it. I also signed an order to declassify and publish all remaining files related to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. I signed an order that will end all of the lawless diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense all across the government and the private sector. We abolished 60 years of prejudice and hatred with the signing of one order, all approved by the United States Supreme Court. We're allowed to do it because we are now in a merit-based world. We're a merit-based country. Did you ever think you were going to hear that again? It's based on merit. If you've got the talent, if you've got the work, the ethic, the whole thing, it's based now on, it's not based on any other thing, it's based on merit, it's based on your capability. The United States has now become, again, a meritocracy. Isn't that a beautiful word, a meritocracy? Based on merit. If you do your job well, you're going to go places. And I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female. Male and female. Every single day of my term, we're living by the motto, promises made, promises kept. I kept my promises. It's why we won. It really is why we won. We won because of the past 4 years. We won because of that. But this is going to blow it away. Because when I came in, I had no experience. I didn't do this before. I never did this. I was never a politician before. I was talking J.D. Vance. By the way, hasn't he done a great job, J.D. Vance? Because J.D. went right to the Senate, and then he went to the vice president and said, J.D., you're really upwardly mobile. He said, you're more so than me. I said, why do you say that? He said, you went from being a real estate developer to the president. That's a pretty big, I never thought of it that way. I guess I'm the most upwardly mobile politician in history. I didn't make any stops along the way. It will be the greatest honor of my life to serve not once, but twice, or 3 times, or 4 times now. Headlines from the fake news. No, it will be to serve twice. For the next 4 years, I will not rest, I will not yield, and together we will not fail. We will win, win, win. We will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring it back. You know, in recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to make it great again, greater than ever before. We'll be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. That's what we're doing, and that's what it's all about. And you see that. I think you see it more in the last week than you've seen it in years. And I walked up the stairs of that massive plane that's waiting for me, that big 747, and I said, there's no way I'm going to let myself fall, because that was one hell of a... That triple fall was a disaster. I would call that a political disaster. You can fall once, you can fall twice, but you can't fall 3 times. You can't fall 3 times. What a disaster. I've used that in every ad I think I ever did. Our power will stop all wars and
Shit.
bring new spirit of unity to a world that's been angry, violent, and very unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by the people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We're bringing back religion in this country. We will be prosperous. We will be free. We will be bigger, bolder, and more ambitious than ever before. And together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. Make America proud again. We're going to make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Nevada. Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. We'll be back. We'll be back. Thank you. Thank you, my man. Great job. Thank you, everybody.
All right, there it is. So did I miss it? Did he say anything about the taxes on tips? I know he briefly was like going over it, but I didn't see any like policies. No taxes on tips. Let's see what comes up real quick. Take stage to talk about no tax on tips. Okay. Business law stage. I don't, because I stepped away from her a little bit. I don't know if I just missed it. Y'all gotta fill me in if he said anything about it, how it's gonna work. The Independent has live updates on it. The crowd. Open his speech. Can you believe it? That's nice. I just came here because I wanted to. Yeah, it's nothing was really like confirmed or. So I would say that's a no. I would say he didn't say anything about it, really, when you think about it. Oh, wait, here we go. No Tax on Tips Act reintroduced to Congress. So it's in Congress. Okay. Local business owners are speaking up, it says. The bill exempts cash tips, cash credit, and debit card charges and checks from the federal income tax by allowing taxpayers to claim a 100% deduction at filing for tipped wages. The updated text includes guardrails to ensure only traditionally tipped employees will benefit from no tax on tips. So yeah, it's probably just looking like waiters, waitresses, and things like that. Maybe if you're lucky, Uber drivers, DoorDash guys, maybe they'll be included in this, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be any crazy loopholes. But anyway, it's been fun. It's been real. Nobody's talking to me in the chat, so I'm going to take that as my cue to sign off. If you enjoyed the information, please subscribe. Please come back next time I stream. I'm trying to get back into it, so you know, y'all have a great weekend.